The current happenings in the country right now is a confirmation that the Parliament of Kenya is a liability to the Kenyan taxpayer. The major responsibility of a parliament are three, and the first responsibility, and which is the most important one, is representation. That is to mean the people donate their powers to a representative who becomes their voice at the national stage, which is parliament. And so the person sitting in parliament on behalf of the constituents is supposed to be representing the views and the feelings of the people that sent him to that house. So that, because all of us cannot fit in that small room. So that is why the constitution was made in a way that we decide on a representative through an election, which happens in every 5 years. And so we give or donate our powers as a people to one person to represent us as a constituency. So the most important role of a parliamentarian or an MP or a senator, for that matter, is representation of the people. Number two, the parliament is supposed to be doing an oversight over the executive. And lastly, they're supposed to be doing legislative work, that is coming up with laws that govern a nation, depending on the needs that may arise from time to time. And so the Kenyan Parliament in the recent past has really proven that they do not have the independence that the Constitution envisaged through the idea of separation of power. When the drafters of the Constitution came up with the separation of powers, Parliament is supposed to be an independent body from the executive, same as to the judiciary. So these three organs of the government, or three branches of the government, are supposed to be operating independently. One should not be having an influence over the other. But what we are seeing in Kenya right now, we are seeing a situation whereby the Kenyan Parliament is taking orders from the executive. They are acting on the whims and wishes of the executive. So whatever the president wants, that is what passes. And so we as Kenyans are very, very disappointed, especially in our parliament, because whatever the president wants, that is what passes in parliament. So they're there as the rubber stamps. They rubber stamp on whatever idea or whatever decision the executive makes. And McHugh, Parliament got the second largest share of the budgetary allocation for the financial year 2023-2024. The total budget was estimated at 2.2 trillion, and the executive got the biggest share of 60%, which is 2.1 trillion, and that is to include the ministries and the state departments that lie under the executive branch of the government. Number two came the Parliament of Kenya, that was allocated 40.4 billion for that particular financial year. And this looks like a wastage, because these two arms of the government tend to be working together in that whatever the executive wants, that is whatever parliament passes. And if you see that budgetary allocation, they've already taken over 61% of the total budget of the country. And so we as a nation, we are not happy. We are not happy with the leadership of the parliament, because they don't have the independence that the constitution envisages them to have. And so the conversation that we're supposed to be having right now is, do we really need a parliament that is not independent? If we do not need a parliament that is not independent, then this is the time to bring a conversation on the need to dissolve parliament so that we can get the correct leadership. We saw a very independent parliament when the parliament was headed by Kenneth Marende. Kenneth Marende was part of the opposition party during the 2007, after the 2007 general election, but we saw a lot of independence of parliament, in that the parliament was not controlled by the executive. And so Kenneth Marende stood for what is right and not what is convenient. The current Speaker of the National Assembly, Moses Wetangula, is not standing for what is right. He is standing for what is convenient, because he got into a coalition with William Ruto, won through the Kenya Kwanza coalition, and then he stepped down from his seat as the senator for Bungoma and was elected the speaker. So he's highly compromised. He is highly compromised in that he takes whatever William Ruto tells him, that is the gospel truth, and that is what he ensures parliament passes. So we are not comfortable as Kenyans, as the taxpayers. We do not want to be paying 40.4 billion every year for a parliament that is not serving the interest of the people, but serving the interest of the executive. And so we want to give a warning to the Kenyan parliament that it's high time the parliament gets dissolved and we go back to fresh general elections. And that is my feel, and that is my take.